What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, and it is that time of the year again where we go through all our transfer targets and all the various positions that we need. And first up, we're going to be looking at left centre-backs. Obviously, we know the situation with Mickey van der Ven. We haven't been able to keep him fit over a consistent amount of time over the 2-year period, albeit an unbelievable player. With Ben Davies potentially going out the door as well, the need for a left centre-back is right there. It's right there in front of our faces. So we've got, we've got 6 left centre-backs that we're going to go through today who Spurs could potentially target this summer. And this first one that we're going to bring up, we seem to talk about him every single summer, don't we? Piero Hincapié, 23 years of age, at Leverkusen, €50 million market value. With Xabi Alonso leaving Leverkusen, there could be a bit of a summer of change there in Germany. And we're thinking it could actually be a good summer to get him.
Yeah, he's been a kind of a player who's played so much for Bayern over the last few seasons. Very versatile, can fill in at left back as well, can play on the left side of a back three. Obviously, he can play centre back, which is what we're going to want him for. At international level, he plays at a very good. He plays very well as well, and he's one that Tottenham we know have been interested in for a number of years. We wanted him, I think, before he joined Leverkusen, and he's just gone from strength to strength. He's been a top player, developed amazingly well at Leverkusen over the last few years. Has shown under Alonso he can play with the ball at his feet. He's aggressive. He's strong. Has a really good left foot. I mean, it's a bit of a no-brainer for Tottenham. It's about convincing him to come here. Yeah,
that's the thing, and I feel like with Mickey van der Ven at left back, we don't want him to play we do because of the quality of the player, but if you have a Piero there, you can have him as like rotation option. I wouldn't even say a backup for Mickey. I was thinking a rotation option for Mickey, and also a rotation option at left back as well, so he can cover kind of both positions. So if you're talking about bringing in a backup for Mickey, you would probably assume that he's not going to play that many minutes. Like, let's say a Danso is a pure backup for Mickey, for Cuti Romero. Where Hincapié, I think if he comes in, he would actually get a significant amount of game time at Tottenham. So I think it's a project you can definitely sell him, where, you know, really good at left back, really good at left centre back, really aggressive player, and young as well. And he's got a lot of experience for his age.
He does, and I think he comes here with a fresh start, and I think, as you say, it could be a bit of an exodus from Bayern and from Leverkusen, and maybe we could take advantage of it. You can see the stats on screen with his graph, and very good with ball progression. Maybe a dribbler's tackled, maybe that's a bit of a surprise. He maybe gets dribbled past a bit too much, but passing really strong, very comfortable on the ball, quite good in the air as well, and aggressive, very aggressive. Does get a few cards and stuff like that, but he's a top player.
Yeah, it's interesting because in his first year at Bayern, he got 5 yellows. In his second season, he got 13 yellow cards in the season. Last season, only 2, and then the current season, he's got 8. So it's like kind of up and down from him. But yeah, I think he's a player that would take to the Premier League like a duck to water, to be honest. And I'd love to see him at this football club. So that's him. The next player we're going to talk about is Hiroki Ito of Bayern Munich, 26 years of age, 30 million market value, obviously, like I said, at Bayern Munich. He joined there last summer and hasn't really been able to get that much game time. I think like the likes of Eric Dyer have been favoured ahead of him. I'm not really sure what's gone too wrong for him, but
injuries.
Is it mainly injuries?
He's literally been ruled out for most of the season with injuries. He had a metatarsal problem, and he's had... Basically, he had a metatarsal problem, came back, and then did it again, the same thing. And it was a weird one because Bayern, obviously, they did his release clause, and they looked like he was going to be a pretty good signing, like on good fee for them. And then he's just basically been ruled out most of the season with injury. But he was one that, again, that Tottenham were heavily linked with earlier in the season, last summer, before Bayern snapped him up. Again, another player, can play centre-back, can play left-back. So... another player who maybe fits how we want to play. And maybe Bayern are thinking, look, he's had this season with injuries. Maybe we can take advantage of that situation. Maybe it was just a one-off season for him. But yeah, this season's been decimated, unfortunately, for him.
Yeah, only 6 games played for Bayern Munich since joining them. And I have heard from rumours, however reliable they are, that Bayern are looking to get him out the door, whether that's just because they can't get him fit or they've lost faith in him, I don't know. But I think he is a player with a lot of talent.
And very comfortable on the ball as well. So he was one that Tottenham are looking at. But Is he over those injury problems? Are we getting him at a time where maybe he's being discarded unfairly, and maybe we can take advantage of that?
Yeah, well, that's him. Let us know in the comment section below. I see a bit of a common theme that we're looking at players from the Bundesliga, and the next player is another player from the Bundesliga in Nitto Schlottbeck of Borussia Dortmund. 40 million market value, 25 years of age, and yeah, another player with bundles of talent, another versatile player that can play at left back as well. And yeah, a lot was made out of him before he joined Dortmund. And he's gone to Dortmund and done the business there as well.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal, actually. Tall, strong, but also quite fairly decent on his feet as well, and really, really good on the ball. As you said, another one of these that can play left back, centre back. The problem is he's been linked with a lot of big, like Liverpool, a lot of big teams. So getting him now while he's at Dortmund is crucial if we've got an opportunity. But I think the time to have got him before was probably before he went to Dortmund, and it's going to be tough to get him now.
Yeah, he is actually another one that's currently injured. He had a bad injury towards the back end of last season, and I think he's going to be injured for a large chunk of the summer, potentially looking to get back in for the start of the season. So that could kind of sway a few teams off him.
Potentially, but his stats are ridiculous. You can see here on the graph, like his on the percentiles, literally right at the top for a lot of all the big ones. This is like for a ball playing centre back. You know, his passing is ridiculous. His on the ball is ridiculous. Defending is also pretty good as well. In terms of he's very strong in the air because he's tall. I think he's like 6'4", so he's a real unit. So he's actually fairly kind of similar to Van der Ven, apart from maybe pace-wise. Van der Ven is obviously a freak, but in terms of how he plays, he's not too dissimilar to Van der Ven.
And he's a player that's, you know, a main staple in the Germany national setup as well. So, I mean, you're talking about a high caliber player here with Nitto Schlottbeck. And I think when you're comparing, like, the three players that we've just mentioned, I actually think the more gettable one is probably Piero Hincapié.
Right now, probably. Well, I think Ito is probably the most gettable.
Well, yeah, true. But Ito, even him, like, he's just struggling with injury at the moment. So, I mean, is he actually going to go anywhere this summer? Castello Lukeba, the next one, another one from the Bundesliga, 22 years of age, 50 million market value, playing at RB Leipzig. And the players at RB Leipzig are obviously being touted out a lot at the moment because they didn't make Champions League football. I don't think they made any European football for next season, which is a massive shock for Leipzig. So a lot of Champions League teams have kind of pricked their ears up a little bit at all these stars that they've got at RB Leipzig. They've got some unbelievable players there.
Yeah.
And Castello Lukeba, I mean, he's been around for a couple of years. I think he joined RB Leipzig a couple of years back. And back then, you know, he was touted as one of the, you know, amazing youngsters coming through in European football. And he's really lived up to that expectations at Leipzig.
Yeah, he's just gone from strength to strength. And there was a lot of promise at Lyon. I remember we were thinking about going for him when he was at Lyon at 19. He's gone to Leipzig for the experience and to develop as a player. And now I think he's ready for that next step. I really do. I think he's been one of Leipzig's better players for sure. And he's fast. He's like, he reminds me a bit like Upamecano when he was there. Very fast in behind, very aggressive, but maybe a bit better on the ball and he's got a nice left foot. So very good at progressing his passing. Again, you look at his numbers, his stats, really, really strong. Pass completion, to be fair, needs work. Clearly, for a centre-back, you know, you don't want to have a low pass completion, so that needs work. But everything else, really, really high. And look how he's so dominant in the air, 85th percentile. Very good in one-on-one situations as well. And very good when it comes to, you know, passing, carrying the ball forward as well.
Yeah, he has missed a bit of a chunk of the season through hamstring and muscle injuries this season, which, you know, doesn't make good reading to Spurs fans, seeing how we've suffered in that situation this year. But again, he's another player who is versatile and has filled in at left back 4 or 5 times this season. So all these players that we've spoken about, I think, are all kind of can play at left back as well, and I think that's exactly what we need from our left back or left centre back signing going into next season. And the next player we're going to talk about is Burnley's Maxim Estee, 23 years of age, 20 million market value. A player that we have been linked to in the past as well. I think it was last summer or last
deadline
January.
day. There was a rumour that we had signed him.
Yeah, that was it. Was it the summer?
Summer, yeah.
Yeah.
No, maybe it was January. Because it was before. Was it before Danso? or maybe it was the summer. I can't remember. Anyway, one of the deadline days, there was a rumour going around that he'd agreed a deal, but it turned out to be rubbish.
Yeah. But anyway, he's been a main staple in Burnley's side this year in the Championship. He's a player that the Burnley fans absolutely love. And if you go by social media, they all believe that, he could go very far.
Yeah, and obviously Burnley have an unbelievable record this season in the Championship. He's probably more one who comes in very much as he's going to be a backup to Van der Ven, though. He's obviously quite young, but I don't know if he's quite on the level of the other guys we've been talking about. And also, I'm not sure if he's also a guy who kind of plays left back as well. He's more, I think, a guy who just plays centre back. If you look at his numbers, he's quite. I mean, this is all in the Championship, but pretty good on the ball, pretty good passing. Tackles, interceptions, it is low, but I think it's because he's more in a similar vein to Van der Ven. He's more of a sweeper than an aggressor. Like the other guys, Nkapia and Lukea, and what we've been looking at, very much aggressive centre-backs who look to win the ball. He's much more of like a Van der Ven who will sweep up in behind. And so he kind of plays that kind of role. So maybe you could say, profile-wise, more of a fit partner Romero than some of the other guys, potentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously he'll step up from the Championship to the Premier League. You have to see how he adjusts to that.
But it's nice having that kind of dynamic, right, where you've got Van der Ven and him as a backup, where they're both kind of a similar vein. And then on the other side, you've got Romero and Danso, who are both very much aggressors as well. So you kind of do need to look at that and have fit stylistically. And if you're going and playing, like, say, a third round of a cup, and you've got Danso and Estee playing together, you've still got that same dynamic. Maybe it's obviously the quality drops, but it's still that same dynamic. And last but not least, a player who I absolutely adore is Jared Braithwaite of Everton, 22 years of age, 50 million market value. He was touted out to Manchester United last summer. The move obviously didn't materialise.
Rejected a 70 million bid, I think, didn't they?
70 million. And look, with Everton going into their new stadium with new owners and stuff, I still feel like this guy is going to go, maybe not this summer, maybe the summer after, but he has got his future set on clubs bigger than Everton. And I feel like he could be the future in the England back line as well. I believe in this guy's quality so much.
I agree. And obviously playing at Everton, it's a very different stylistic approach to playing at Tottenham in terms of what he's been asked to do. And I think he's been brilliant at Everton for the last few years, for sure, and he's been one of the most impressive young centre-backs in the Premier League. If you look at his numbers, though, it's more to do with how Everton play, I think, than him, but it's not as strong. Passing-wise, doesn't get to show off his passing range, ball-carrying ability. What he is good is defensively. You can see dribblers tackled, he's quite good. But again, I think similar to, in a weird way, similar to like Dragoshin, he's very good box defender, very good at making clearances, very tall, very good in the air. But if he is to come here, he's going to have to show another side to his game, which I think when you watch him, you could see he probably does have, but he's got to prove it on a more consistent basis.
Yeah, I think he could definitely do it and, carry on developing that more attacking offensive side. I just think whatever club gets him and goes to him next is going to be a very lucky club, because I genuinely believe he's the future of England's backline going forward. But he's going to cost a lot of money. That's true. You've got to add the English tax to that as well. But in terms of all the defenders that we've just spoken about, I mean, my number one choice would be, no question, Piero Hincapié.
Yeah, I think he's the obvious choice, in my opinion, in terms of quality, in terms of injury record, in terms of stylistic fit, in terms of what we need. I think he would be my number one. He's one we've wanted for a while. I just think he's perfect for us, but whether he's gettable is another question.
I think he is. I think he is gettable because, the money in the Premier League, whether we offer that or not is a different question. But at some point, we got to put our neck out on the line and go and improve this squad. And I think probably the most realistic one is probably Maxim Estee, to be honest.
Yeah, I think, probably.
I don't think that would be a bad option for us, though. I really don't.
I think whether he can make the jump to the Prem, I guess we have to wait and see. But he's done wonders in the Championship. That's all we can say at the moment. Yeah,
if we want to go about, being the club who we think we are, in the stadium that we're in, and the facilities that we have, we go and get a deal for Piero Hincapié done. That's what we do.
Agreed.
But look, that is the left centre-back targets. Let us know who you want in the comment section below. If there is someone that we haven't looked at, do let us know as well. But thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.